now I have to do a part 2 to this video because in part 1, I completely forgot to talk about Service 22. Like, my mind just floated to the Service 22 from like Alexandra to Kembangan and Chai Chi. Yes, people do say that like, oh, my memory is like really good and stuff like that, but you have to remember that like I remember routes from like the 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and then some of them from the 2020s era as well. I remember like I have to remember all of them. So, but the thing is like I cannot possibly cram every single thing in my head. And I have tendencies to forget them, especially when I'm doing all these videos unscripted. I just say whatever comes to my mind. And unfortunately, I did miss out on Service 22. But before I get into Service 22, this video's idea was like kind of like it was brought to me by one of my commenters. I do not remember what that comment says, but I mean, I don't remember who that comment is from, but I do remember the contents of it. So please claim your comment, thank you. So anyway, the content is about Bedok feeder rationalization, and it has already been done in the past. I don't need to like elaborate any further, but there is no need to like further rationalize the feeders. But when my mind floated to the trunk services, I was thinking like, hey, maybe we could do something to them. Okay, but before we get into that, just some contextual knowledge. The old 221 as well as the C version, the Chai Chi version, it merged with the old 229 to become 222. These two were rendered obsolete. This one never really changed. 226 was merged with like 385 to form service 60. 227 was rendered obsolete by 17 because 227 is just a loop at Bedok North Depot, which is kind of like 17A in the modern day context. The old 219 became the present day 229, and then 228 never really I think it never had any amendment, to be honest. And then obviously there was one more. There used to be a bus stop at Bedok South Avenue 2, but then ever since 220 was merged to become 38, that bus stop, I don't know if it still exists, but no more bus as of now passes by Bedok South Avenue 2. So there is really no real need to like change the feeders, and I'll explain why. So, contrary to what people say, there is nothing wrong with Service 222. I do know that because 222 isn't able to use bendy buses because this road prevents bendy bus usage, but like the route in itself, there's really no issue with it. It's meant to link this part of this town and then this part of this town to Bedok. And there is really no issue with it. 225, again, it's just like this, and then like this. No issue with it. And then 229, the loop, this bus stop is important because it allows you to feed from the trunk routes to this feeder route, either in this direction or like in this direction, both directions. And then this one just like loops at Bedok South. So no issues with that. The one thing that I kind of get from people is instead of merging with 228, sorry, instead of merging with 226, you merge it with 228 instead. So 385, which is now service 60, is like this. And it goes one round in both directions. So instead of like linking it up together with this 226 section, people were saying that like, since I mean like to introduce double-decker buses to 228 section because the demand at here is like really, it's like high demand. So they were saying that in order to accommodate DDs, they should do it like this instead of like this. And I don't blame them for like thinking along the lines of this. I don't blame them because it is completely logical, and I can see why they would do that. But there is just this one small downside, I would say. Because like when you amend it to this sector, you amend it, okay, so it's like from here on, it really doesn't matter, but people who are boarding service 60 from Jalan Eunos, Bedok Reservoir Road, they would complain that their direct access to Bedok North, this general area is being cut off. So that's the downside. And yes, there is a church here. It's different denominations, and that's the reason why that's the general reason why people go to different churches. It's the same as how Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims, they don't go to like the same mosque. It's like the exact same logic. I mean, this one is a Sunni mosque, so yeah, there is only like one Shia mosque and then one Ahmadiyya mosque. Okay, I don't really want to go into that because like some people don't consider Ahmadiyya as Muslims, but anyways, this is the reason why people, they don't go to like the same churches. And people who frequent here during Sundays, who live along Jalan Eunos or like this small part of like Bedok Reservoir Road, not this part, because this part there is still like this so-called 226. People who are boarding from here and here, they have to transfer either to this 226 or they have to like intercept like 87 or stuff like that, or they have to like go outside and take service 45, whose frequency is like really not that good as compared to like 60. So in short, you just render this direct access from like this area to the MRT over here, and sorry, why did I say that? I mean, it goes via here, I'm sorry. So yes, that's the kind of downside. You cut off direct access from here to here. You make them transfer once, which for such a short route, I think there would be backlash. But this one, I don't really blame people if they bring up like amendments like these, because it is just to introduce double deckers to like this section of the route, which objectively needs it more than like this section, because this section already has like 87 to over here and stuff like that. But I can understand why. Then now comes the whoops. Then now comes the part where I talk about trunk service rationalization, like not really, cutting off access or anything. It's just rearranging the routes per se. So if you can recall, service 13, it goes to Marine Crescent and then Terrace like this. I mean, in one direction for Terrace. And then it goes like this. And then 16 comes from Juchiat and Marine Parade. So what I would say, like again, the whole purpose of this rationalization is to make service 14 shorter in distance. So what you do is 16, you send it to cover the entire section of service 14. You make it go one big round. And 14, you just truncate it to the service 16 the part of the what am I saying? I mean, you swap 14 and 16 is what I was trying to say. No. I got my chain of thought wrong. No. Okay. So service 16, you use it to cover service 14. That's one. 13, you use service 13 to cover service 16 instead. My bad. 13. Now that you've taken 13 away from Upper East Coast, again, the beauty of this is that you don't necessarily have to follow what I am proposing. It's just a suggestion. Service 14, you could just truncate it to Upper East Coast Bus Terminal. Or, I was told that like there is an upcoming new road here, like Laguna Golf Green, that's like gonna be extended to touch Bedok Road and Upper East Coast Road, that intersection. I mean now it's like a I mean now the road is like this, but I was told that there might be an extension. I'm not entirely sure, but if it happens, then there is potential to send this one to Changi Business Park instead of just truncating it to Upper East Coast. So yeah, that's generally how you would do it. And with every rationalization, obviously there's gonna be packs that are affected because they lose their direct links. But if your whole purpose is to make service 14's runtime go down, like not having to like throw through this sector, then I guess this is one way to do it. But again, this is not a must. I'm only saying this one because I was asked if like service 14's runtime could be shaved off a little bit. So this is what I came up with. But again, I do know that when I amend routes like this, I try to make sure that like 13 and 16, I'm not really cutting off the connections from like this general area. I tried my best, but again, you don't necessarily have to do this. So now let's talk about 22. 22, obviously I'm not going to send it to Tampines. I would send this one to uh as in if we are like reviving 22 in some way, I would make it go to Bedok North Depot with like a future extension to Changi Business Park if there's demand. I don't want to hear complaints about like duplicating DTL or whatever, but it's like it's meant to feed this site to Changi Business Park, so it's not even like duplicating DTL in any way. I would rather do this than amend Service 18 because the Service 18 amendment was controversial, so I was like, just bring back 18 to Bedok interchange instead. Because it doesn't make sense if you give a bus service to this area and then years later you take it away, you make them walk to this side or like this side, you tell them to take like 69 or 168, both of which are already kind of struggling when it comes to demand. I mean, struggling when it comes to fit everybody inside the single decker or double decker bus. It's like overflowing with demand. That's what I was trying to say. So instead of that, why not just bring back the old Service 18 to Bedok Interchange instead and let 22 cover the Bedok North Avenue 4 to Bedok Reservoir Park? Why not do that instead? And that's not all. This one, I've already talked about it like really, really loosely when it comes to like how to amend Service 22. So the first suggestion is to reduce duplication with 24, which is along here. You send it via Serangoon Avenue 1, Bartley Road. This is not Braddock Road, this is Bartley Road. And then instead of sending it via Ubi Avenue 2, you send it via Ubi Avenue 3 instead so that you help out 58 during peak hours especially. And I mean this route, like Eunos Link, then Bedok Reservoir Road. So that is like suggestion number one. And then suggestion number two is instead of like letting it go Bartley Road, you let it go through Bidadari Park Drive, or you can make it go inside this like road, Sang Nila Utama Road, I think. Either this or this. I'm just gonna use another color. Either this or this, and then you send it via Upper Aljunied Road, then either MacPerson or like circuit and pipit. So if you go via circuit and pipit, you go Avenue 2. If you go via MacPerson, there's already service 8 to Ubi Avenue 2. So if you go via MacPerson, you go Ubi Avenue 3 instead. So Ubi Avenue 3, you're giving them a new connection because 58 goes like this. So you are giving this new service 50. So aside from having service 58 along this kind of like corridor, you're giving new access in the form of service 22. You're letting them access this general area, or you're letting them access like this general area as well. So you compare like the blue with the purple. I mean the blue, you could, it depends on whether you wanna send it via here, here, or here, but you're just giving Ubi Avenue 3 new access and not making them have to like cram on service 58, which is already like overflowing with demand during peak hours. So that's how you would bring back service 22's old route with some adjustments. Not really minor, but it's giving them new use to this service, which has been made obsolete with the existence of service 24. So yeah.